That's all it has. Yeah.
She's your right-hand woman.
So I was just telling Eileen that I've had a car crash 2 weeks ago. And so it's been I live in the middle of nowhere, so not having a car practically has been tricky. Fortunately, I've been able to borrow a car. And I just said, and that's what this is like. This is a car crash. It sounds terrible, but the reason that it came to mind, and Eileen really agreed with it, because it is like a car crash, because we are always, as a self, trying to avoid the car crash. The sense of self is all about safety and security. It's always trying to keep myself safe, all those I love safe, because they're part of me. And doing everything to stop a car crash happening. And the terrible bit about, the beautifully terrible bit about this message is, there's absolutely nothing you can do to avoid the car crash. Nothing at all. All your attempts to keep yourself safe are utterly futile. I can't emphasize how utterly futile it is. And if I tell you the story of my car crash, it exemplifies that. Why did I have what's the reason? When I was interviewed by the police, by the way, I'm totally culpable. So I claim full responsibility. When the copper, he sits in the car with me, my smashed up car, and he's sitting beside me, and he reads me my rights. It's a formal interview. I'm not arresting you, but anything you may say. And so, what happened, Mr. Cliss? Well, it's not complicated. I came round the corner, and there, coming out of the water, coming out of the flooded fens, was this incredible rainbow. And I just was transfixed. It was coming out of the water. And I went, Tony, my brother, he's in the back, there's a rainbow coming out of the water. He goes, fucking hell, Tim! And then I hit the car in front. So it was almost death by rainbow. That was so yeah. And the police officer's writing that, are you sure? He said, are you sure you don't want to add anything? I said, well, you could call it a momentary lapse in concentration. I'm sure that's what. And that's what it was. But it's the rainbow. So the rainbow and the car crash. So if you're telling the story, the rainbow caused the car crash. But of course it didn't. Nothing caused anything. Nothing causes anything. So it looked like rainbow, attention, smash. That's the story. But it's just a story. There is no cause and effect. The rainbow didn't cause the accident, although that's the only reason, because all the police wanted to know is whose fault is it? Because that's all we're about as individuals, as a society. That's in our interactions with each other, all we have is, so who's to blame here? And so I'm always, as a self, terrified. And I mean terrified, most people, terrified that I'm going to get the blame. Remember when you were a small child? This starts really early, when you have this embryonic sense of self. When you were little and you were blamed, well, you've done that, it's your fault. Oh my God, it's just like They were daggers through your heart as a child. They were. I can feel it as I say it. It wasn't quite so bad if my mum said it, because she said it a lot. If my dad said it, if he said I was to blame, I was responsible, and I'd been bad, I got it wrong, wow. And that's the core of all suffering. All suffering is that I manage this, I'm responsible for the managing of this, which I'm calling my life. And because I'm responsible, and because I've got free will and choice, I'm choosing what I do, of course I'm responsible. Wow, I wonder why I've had 40 years of mostly feeling terrified of getting it wrong. Because I know I will have to take all that responsibility for my actions. So to go back to the rainbow story, it seemed like I should have, and my brother said this, he says, you seem all right. You just nearly killed your mother and me, and yourself. And I went, rainbow? Well, it's nothing to do with, if I see a rainbow out of the water, how am I not going to look at it? The rainbow appeared, that's not my, how on earth, even if I felt any sense of responsibility, which I didn't, how on earth could I be held responsibility for the appearance of a rainbow? And it was absolutely clear. If I wanted to give a reason, that was the only one I could come up with. I don't know why I've talked about it, it's just... So there's the car crash. So a car crash is always imminent, but it's not. Because there's nothing imminent. It's really hard to just... But you can't... What I'm saying is, worrying about a car crash will not stop the car crash happening. Your attempts to avoid bad things happening are completely and utterly, well, they're the root of all suffering. Because then your whole life is around, I can manage my life and keep myself safe, and because I'm so invested in my relationships with those I love, I feel all that responsibility as well. And so you carry this huge weight, this huge burden of responsibility. And I used to describe it as carrying a great big rucksack. You see, the travellers who are on their world tour, on their gap year. It's like one of those rucksacks, way above their heads, and it's full of rocks. And so of course, if you went around the world just walking, it would be fine. But when you're carrying that burden of self around, which, that's why it's worth talking about this. Because that's all nonsense. It's almost a universally accepted nonsense, but it isn't true. It just isn't true. I know it feels true. It feels very powerfully real, that sense of being me. And by the way, the other thing is, because I'm saying it's not real, there's absolutely nothing you could do to give it up, because that's you taking responsibility for giving it up. So that's why I spent a long time trying. A really long time. You could say from mid-childhood, really, because all at school is trying, and then all the self-help is trying, all the becoming a better me, or more effort. And this doesn't require any effort. It's really obviously, this is effortless. This isn't asking anything of you. It isn't. Is it? It really isn't. You ask a lot of yourself. And there will be others, but it's so funny. If you even start to get a little lighter, if your sense of self becomes a little, whatever word you want for that unravelling or that lightening, then the others will become lighter as well. So what other people's demands on you, they will, it's weird, but if there's less of me, then there is less of you. And so when you tell me that's your fault, that doesn't have anywhere near the power. And if there's no sense of me-ness, there's no sense of you-ness at all. You could say what you liked about what I should and shouldn't do. I couldn't give a fuck. Now, wouldn't you wish that for everyone that well, you'd wish it for everyone you cared about. You might not wish it for some of the arseholes you know, but even for them you might wish them to be, I don't know, travelling lighter, to use Paul Hedderman's term, which I really like. You would just wish it. So that's why people ask me why do I talk about this, because it is really pointless. Well, I talk about it because I love talking about it. That's the most obvious reason, and the other reason is it is worth talking about. Because I would wish for as many me's as possible to just fuck off. I really would. I can't emphasise it enough. The whole sense of being me has been no good to me at all. To this human being. Whatever this is, and by the way, I have no idea, and neither do you. You can tell me whatever your ideas are, and I just get, that's the other beauty of this. Whatever anyone says now about what it is to be one of us, to be human, whatever they say, I just go, yeah, if you want to believe that, that's fine. You just don't know. That's the other great freedom. All I'm talking about is you just don't know. And it's just being very, very honest. This is like the ultimate honesty. What do you know for sure? Well, you don't know anything specific for sure. You know everything, because there isn't anything else. But you don't know anything specific. So this is just all there is. And you can't not know this, because there isn't anything else. So in one sense, you absolutely know this. What is it? I haven't got a clue. Do you want to know what it is? No, not at all. Why would you want to know? It's everything. So anybody who says they know this, I would always laugh, because it's like, oh, so you know everything, do you? So you would literally need to know everything in order to know this. And when I say everything, I mean everything that has been known, all current knowledge, everything, and all that could be known. So this, because that's all here. There's only this. So this is all possibilities of knowing as well. So if anyone says they know what this is, I wouldn't give them much time. But of course, I say all this, but if I'm thinking, if you ask me the story of Tim Cliss's life, then I'll talk about 15 years of learning as much shit as I could about this. There.
I really feel like I really get it. I really get it.
I know you do.
Apart from one little teeny.
Oh, is there a teeny bit?
Really
Waiting.
teeny
Well,
bit.
of course, you've got to have a teeny bit that you haven't got.
Yeah.
Do you know why?
Yes, I do,
Why have
yes.
you got to have a teeny bit left?
That's why I'm here, really, isn't it? It's because there is
Otherwise-
that teeny bit. Otherwise, I'd.
Well,
float.
otherwise there's no point, is there?
Yeah. So can I tell you what my teeny bit is?
Oh, I can't wait.
It's the free will thing, I find that really, I get stuck on that one.
Yeah.
I really get it until I get to that point, then I go, oh, I can't I can't.
Well, do you think I am going to give up my free will? Because getting it is the same as losing it. So if you get that there's no free will, you've lost your free will, haven't you? That's what. And you're not going to do that. So I wouldn't, so in that sense, do you see what I mean?
No.
Okay. The sense of self, the sense of being me, and free will and choice, that I have control over my life, are one and the same. It's not that I have free will. Free will is me.
Mm.
The sense of being who I am, myself, and the free will that I have to choose and determine my path in my life, in my journey, are one and the same. They're not a separate thing. It's not that you have free will. The sense of being me and free will and choice, because they're all the control, that sense of I am in control of my life is free will. And
Yeah.
that's really what we're talking about. So there isn't a me, but the sense of I can choose, that I can,
Yeah.
that is me.
Yeah.
And so you can't, when you say I can't get that,
Yeah. That's me again.
well, that would be massive. Of course, me would be hugely resistant to the idea of no free will. I remember even when that was very attractive to Tim as a seeker, that's what drew me to non-duality. There was something new that there would be much more freedom in the no free will than everything just being as it is. So in that sense, you could say Tim got that, but that didn't end the feeling of being me and the feeling that I still was choosing. I was still making choices.
Mm. Sometimes when I talk to people about this, they get, it's that point of free will, as in, therefore there is no responsibility, that makes people go, oh, well, that means it's fine for you to
I know.
be a fucking arsehole.
Well, absolutely, yeah.
And I kind of go, yeah, that sounds awful, doesn't it? But
Well,
it kind of is alright to be a fucking arsehole if you just let it be.
yeah.
Because it's only a fucking arsehole if you're judging it. Otherwise it's not. It's just action. Does that make sense?
Well, an arsehole is
No,
just...
you can't look like that. You've got to be clear. And
An arsehole is just being an arsehole.
But an arsehole is only an arsehole if there is somebody calling them an arsehole.
Yes.
An arsehole is, yeah.
I'm not sure where we're going now.
Well, it's good for me.
Good.
That is where I get stuck. So it is that.
Mm-hmm.
That's the place I go, yeah, it doesn't sound good, does it? When people go,
Well, the truth is, of course, it's not good. I've not come to talk to you to tell you that it's good. Because what I'm talking about is the end of good and bad. Who's the judge of right and wrong and good and bad? It's me. There isn't any other. There's no other. And I would say the less of me there is, and in the absence of me, it's absolutely obvious that there is no right and wrong. other than your saying so. That's it. We made up God in order to have some great power saying what I think is right and wrong is justified because the Lord has said it so. And so we made God in our own image with all these commandments of what is right and wrong about life and certainly about how I should behave. And then we inflicted those upon all our brothers and sisters. How obscene. Really. It's a pretty universal obscenity, but I do find it obscene that anyone else tells anyone else what's right and wrong. But there you go, it's okay. You can't do otherwise. Me is the judge. I'm the judge, I'm the jury. I judge everyone. I judge myself more harshly than everyone else. So in that I relieve myself of... So therefore I don't feel too bad about judging your behaviour because I know I'm a very harsh judge to myself. And so in that gives me carte blanche to be terribly judgmental about everyone else's behaviour. That's what me does. It's horrible. This is what we're calling normal. That's what everyone calls normal. Nearly all your conversations with normal people, I'm not talking about present company excluded from this. What we would call normal conversations, they're all about right and wrong. They're all moral judgments, constant. Ethical or moral, taking the moral high ground. It's funny because when things are no longer, when human beings' behaviour is no longer right and wrong, you can be more condemning of it. This sounds paradoxical. So it's not that, say I saw somebody doing something. It's totally, I would say there is a natural morality, you could say. You could call it compassion if you want. Compassion is better than morality. There's a natural, without judgment, without me, and I am the judge, so without that sense of self, or without that righteousness, that self-righteousness, then there's much more natural compassion. Now that doesn't make sense to me, because me says, well, I'm the one who's keeping this all together. Imagine if I just let my, the animal in me, the nature in me, just be free to be whatever this is. Well, amazingly, it's incredibly easy and so much lighter. And you don't, and it's only in the story, but in the story, it seems that less harm is done, not more, less, because what is more harmful than judgment? It harms me, I harm myself constantly. What is depression if not self-harm? It's like the worst self-harm. I fucking hate myself. That's depression in a nutshell. I fucking can't stand myself.
So actually Hitler wouldn't have done that if he'd been non-Jewish.
Well,
because he wouldn't have judged that was a better human being than that. Isn't that?
Well, I know we could talk about Hitler, but it's much better to be close to home and just think about, everyone you're in a close relationship with. And you just think of the conflict, when there's conflict. And we could even call it violence, emotional or psychological violence. That's all me judging right and wrong. Is it not? It's just obvious. Because I say, I know what's right and wrong. And we have absolutely rammed this down children's throats. You had it rammed down your throat from the age of 2. From 2 years old, you got away with it as a baby because you didn't know any better. But as soon as you could speak, as a human being, every other human being you met, every other self, every other me, demanded of you that you become self-righteous. And self-righteous, by that I mean, you know what's right and wrong. And you will judge yourself, and you will judge every other human being you come into contact with on those criteria that you've been taught. And you then go through your life continuing with that shit and making sure that every other child that you come into contact with, you make sure they know it as well. And you took that on as your job. And this isn't a job. Is it? But you've made it into one. So I'm offering a redundancy package. Or I could just sack the fucking lot of you. But the redundancy packages, you know, you don't need to work anymore. Retirement, if you want. When people say now, what do you do? I have a lot of people ask, so what exactly do you do now? It's really, I laugh always, because I do fuck all. I don't do much at all. So what do you do? I'm retired. And that covers all bases, because it's nice, because they get that I'm retired, which means they think I'm not doing the job I used to do, but I really mean I'm retired. Yeah, I've just given up the job. And what was the job? I haven't given it up. It gave me up. So I didn't give it up, actually. It was taken from me, against my will. But it's gone anyway. And I've given up being me. It was taken away. And then, if I look back, I've got this story of my job, which is the past 50 years. And I could tell you some stories, but it's just a story. It's Jackanory. Yeah, it really is. It's like Grimm's fairy tales, just like yours are. And you've got it into your... Me has taken those as me. The tale of your life. And all we do as human beings is go around and tell each other the stories of our life. All your interactions. And of course it's fine, but they're not stories. You know, when you're telling your story, that's not a fucking story, that's real, isn't it? It's so real, it's realer than real. It's the absolute truth. It's my truth. It's my reality. Don't you fucking question that, because I'll tell you it's true. In every, you know, you have a conversation with people, that's what they'll do. You question their story, I'll go for you straight away. Sounds just like a story to me. What do you mean it's just a story? That's my story. How dare you? No, because you're threatening the very sense of...
My life. That's the thing, isn't it?
That's the whole of your life. Well, if it's just a story, it didn't really happen. Where the fuck are you then?
Yeah.
It's all... It justifies, you know, it's so... But it is, isn't it? Where is your life? And then you go, well, this happened, that... Yeah, okay, tell me that story. So where's that story? Well, I can remember that happened. Yeah, so you've got a memory of that. So where else is your life? Oh, no, it's here. Oh, no, I know I'm sitting in the chair. Do you? So you know you're sitting in a chair? Well, I can feel the chair. Oh, yeah, there's a feeling of the chair. And then it just becomes simpler and simpler and simpler, because my life needs to be complicated. I'm a big character in this fucking story. Don't you simplify me down to I'm no extra here. I'm no extra. I'm the star of this show. Don't try and play down my parts.
But you could negate the story completely. But,
Yeah.
but they could still say, but there's a felt sense of being me, aside from the memories and the.
Yeah. Absolutely, and that's convincing. Yeah. But it's funny because because if you had a felt sense of being you, which are you saying that to me?
Yeah, I think there's a felt sense.
Yeah,
of me.
and I'm just saying, well, that's fine. That's just not yours.
Yeah. Still there.
What's a felt sense of being me?
Yeah, and it's unfindable. It can't.
Yeah,
be
so
found.
no, because there isn't anything.
But it's to be felt.
Because if you have a sense, because it is, I do. That's just how I describe it. That felt sense, because it is bodily. So we have the story on the one hand. We're sort of we're disassembling the meanness here, aren't we? So you got the story, but then you have. So I am sitting here. I am present. That sense of I am, that presence. Now, I could say there's a sense of presence, but it's just not yours. You've just this illusion of meanness, which is so I feel in control, because this is a dangerous place. Car crash at any moment. Anything. So, as a child, I always think, because sense of self appears around 18 months to 2 years, somewhere in the second year anyway. A human being becomes a person, a me. How vulnerable is a 2-3-year-old child? How scared? How much vulnerability is when they've got this embryonic sense of being suddenly separate in a world of giants? Just so, of course, me sets about making my world as safe as possible, which is generally trying to be good. Just this effort to be. Well, I know I'm much less likely to get in trouble and get rejected by my parents. I'm totally dependent on my parents. It's obvious. By the way, this doesn't have to be conscious. It would just be obvious to a little me that I couldn't survive on my own. I need to be good. And my parents are always telling me I need to be good as well. They've emphasised this. So I set about at a very early age being good. I've gone completely off track. I don't even know what I was talking about, but I know there was something before that, wasn't there? What was I meant to be answering?
Sense of me.
The felt sense.
Yeah. Because, but yes, so there was a point. So, from that embryonic felt sense of being me, the sense of vulnerability, the fear of this is a dangerous place and I need to keep myself safe, particularly by being good. And one of the most effective ways of making sure that I'm going to be good, and so then I won't get rejected, I won't get, my parents will still love me and care for me. It's too sad, really. Is that I'll take on this responsibility for being the best person I can be. Knowing full well, but what's the most powerful way of doing that is